I don't have rich parents. I don't have a rich family. I have nothing besides me. And the only thing I have is my skill set and my ability to work. Right now, I'm grateful that I can work with my brain and I can type on my little computer. But if worse comes to worse, yeah, I have this magic card in the back of my pocket that I can go and I can show up to almost any job site and say, hey, I'll weld. I'm going to say this, and I hope it's more relieving than it is scary. All of the fears that you have going into starting your own business or buying a business or doing a deal will come true. What if I lose all my money? You will lose all of your money.
100%.
What if my key players quit? Your key players will quit. These are like guaranteed to happen. Starting a business is crazy to 100 people. You get 100 people in a room that have had a job and have building a pension and investing in their 401k. Starting a business is crazy to those people. You get into a room where there's 100 people that have started businesses, bought businesses, grown businesses, sold businesses. This is a normal Tuesday. Yesterday, I sat down, I signed a deal with the guy. He gave me $50,000 to go buy a piece of land. Right after that, I went to a title company to go sell a piece of land. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., I'm going to a title company to sign on a 54-acre deal. Like, this is a normal day for me. It's not crazy. For me, crazy is waking up and for the next 40 years, letting somebody else tell me what I can and can't do, when I cannot take, when I can and cannot eat. Like, that's crazy.
All right. Welcome to Zane Engineer's Life. We've got Matt Beans in today. He is a business badass, mainly because he's had basically every disaster business that there could ever be, right, Matt? So if you were to sit down and write a book of exactly how to do this perfectly the first time, you would follow absolutely zero of the steps you followed in life. Does that pretty much sum it up?
I've had a lot of dumpster fires. That is absolutely true. And funny enough, I was just telling Roman, I actually started writing a book, and it's now done, about making money from buying and selling assets.
Love it. So can you talk us through like first couple of disasters? So let's say you're in your early 20s, you're trying to figure out how to make some money in the world. You've been told all this bullshit from family and friends. You get online and you look around at all the bros and the bro marketing making trillions of dollars in 30 seconds, trading this or doing that or click funnel in this. Where do you get wrapped up? Where do you get started? And talk me through like your first business or two.
Yeah. So even before the first business, I was taught the fundamental belief of like, hey, have a skill set that you can always fall back on. And so that skill set for me was welding. Got into the welding industry, went and worked on power plants at 19, 20, 21 years old. And then I had this pipe dream that I wanted to be a real estate investor. Quickly realized that real estate is a finance game. So I went into the mortgage lending space, not even to like make money. I went into the lending space to understand the finance behind real estate, how loans work, what assets need to look like, how loans need to be structured. And, one thing that I think we're told is, hey, your best investment in most people's lives, so your biggest investment is the house that you buy. And being in the lending space for, a year or two, I realized that is not true. Your house is more of, sure, it's an asset, but it's definitely not an investment. It's not kicking off cash flow. It's just one giant liability. You're fixing water heaters. You're fixing plumbing issues. You're paying insurance. You're paying your mortgage. It is just sucking money out. However, you are building equity, which is a glorified savings account if you don't have the discipline to put savings away. So after mortgage, I actually went and worked at a real estate investment firm, and I got invited in, and he basically wanted me to help find and sell deals, which I started doing. Stayed there for about a year, and I was like, dude, I can actually do this on my own. I'd been studying it for a few years, and I was like, oh, I can do this on my own. I've done the front end, I've done the back end, I found the buyers, I've talked to sellers, negotiated contracts, I've done it front to back. Left, and I flipped 10 houses in the first 18 months of being out of that organization. And I started that with $5,000 in my bank account. The first property I bought, I needed to put $15,000 down and carry monthly debt. So figuring that type of stuff out, figuring out lending, hard money, creative finance, and all the skills that I learned when I was in high school, flipping cars, applied to buying and fixing and cleaning up and making real estate better. And now we're using those same principles to shop for and acquire businesses.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So you had a skill and you had done some stuff and you didn't mind working with your hands, and you knew that college wasn't for you and that path might not be as exciting as other things because you're kind of a want to get things done, want to see results kind of person. So how did you kind of get going on the welding side for a minute? So let's start there. If you were 18, 20, you liked working with your hands, school sucks, you're tired of listening to your parents, you'd really like to get out on your own and maybe see the world. What's there for you? Is there a potential career? Could you use those monies that you made and things that you do and experiences you found to potentially buy into a business later in the future? Because I think one of the fears that a lot of kids have at that age is, oh my God, I don't want to be a welder until I'm 65. Well, in my experience, there's not a lot of 65-year-old welders. They make a lot of money and then they either start a welding business or use their money to invest in other things. So maybe you can talk me through that pathway.
Yeah, there's lots to unpack there. I actually got involved in welding my junior year of high school. So I went to one high school that didn't offer very many like college incentive programs or education outside of your standard education. It was a good school. It was a charter school, but they didn't offer like CTE credits. They didn't offer, different skills of mechanics and welding and all this stuff. And so I went to my parents at 16 years old and I was like, hey, I want to go to this other school. And at that school, in high school, my junior and senior year, I started taking, during the day, I'd take business classes on top of my, English, math, all the normal high school stuff. And then in the evenings, 2-3 times a week, I would actually go to our local community college and take welding classes. And so I had my welding certificates by the time I graduated high school.
Let me jump in there for a second, because I hear a lot of kids that think they want to do this, and then they go to mom and dad or they listen to grandma and grandpa, where everyone's still like, oh, you don't want to work blue collar. You got to get a degree. The only way to make any money in this world is to have a college education. Like, what was their response? Like, were they for this? Were they against it? Did you have to sell them on it? Like what happened there?
So it's kind of funny. So from 8th grade to freshman year, you switch campuses. At most schools, I think across the US is kind of that tipping point. And at that time, I told my parents I wanted to go to that other school. And I've been in the same school, at the same charter school since preschool twice. I went to preschool twice, which was, extra credit. And my parents said no. And I was like, hey, I want to be homeschooled so that way I could go like work and do all these. She said no. There was something about, I don't know if it was my maturity. I don't know if it was that I actually had a plan laid out of like, hey, here, maybe I've done some more research. But that third time that I went to them, between my sophomore and junior year, she was like, okay. And I just went over and I signed up, and I think the thing that really sold her on it was like, hey, I want to switch schools because I can start working towards college credits. I can start taking business credits. I can have my welding certifications. And even as a teenager, I told everybody, I had a girlfriend at 16 and her dad was a pastor. He goes, Matt, what are you going to do with your life? I was lower middle class. I drove like a $3,000 truck, piece of shit. I had Vans on that I'd owned for like 4 years that were all ripped up and barely fit anymore. My toes are coming out. Like I have no ground to stand on to stake my flag in the ground and say, I'm going to be a real estate investor. And he kind of rolled his eyes. He's like, you need to figure something else out. And so the things I was saying, like, didn't make any sense to anyone. It was a complete delusion to everybody, probably including myself.
Sure. Well, that's interesting. So you kind of packaged it with, hey, I can work immediately, get a skill that I could fall back on. I could always provide for me and my family no matter what. And it gives me an avenue into school and training and business, and maybe going that route where either I start my own business or work in a career where I'm doing something there. So you kind of tried to sell both of them. Were you really just telling them whatever the hell they wanted to hear, or was that kind of the path you were thinking?
It was a little bit of both. Like I think every parent is well-intentioned in the grand scheme of things of like, hey, we want the best for you. The path to get there there might be some differences in viewpoints, but especially I think now more than ever, even though we live in a changing world, especially with the advancement of AI and technology and data and all this stuff, you can always go and work with your body. Like keeping your body healthy is such a safe downfall. I know even today, and I've been out of the welding industry for 8 years, I know I can go get a job and go make starting $60K a year on an entry level job. And because of my skill set and my ability to lead and communicate and understand processes and systems from the business side, I know I can go make within 12 months $100,000 to $200,000 a year as a welder, not as a sales job, not as like a high pressure thing, but like I know I have that fallback. So now personally, when I'm looking at risk and making these business decisions, it's like I have a little bit of comfort knowing, hey, I have a healthy body. I'm still young and I can go and I have a skill set of welding two pieces of metal together and making something awesome that's functional and usable for whoever.
Dude, that's super, super interesting. So you actually use that as a way to take some risk, a way to do things that most people wouldn't do because they're afraid, they're fearful, because maybe they don't have a fallback plan. And here you have this in your back pocket.
Yes, sir. It's my magic card that I don't ever pull out because it's like, I don't have rich parents. I don't have a rich family. I have nothing besides me. And the only thing I have is my skill set and my ability to work. Right now, I'm grateful that I can work with my brain and I can type on my little computer and, do all that stuff. But if worse comes to worse, yeah, I have this magic card in the back of my pocket that I can go and I can show up to almost any job site and say, hey, I'll weld, and I'll even work it for a day for free. You tell me what you need welded, I'll get it done.
Love that.
And I have job security knowing that I have the skill set to go do that.
You're never going to starve, and you should be able to provide for your family. So I think that's a message. Let's just reinforce that for a minute. One of the things that I've noticed in mentoring and coaching and helping kids, and I've got 5 my own that are 18 to 23, is parents, as you said, they mean well. They want you to do well. They want you to prosper, to be successful. Some of them may not want you to be better than them. They kind of have a little hang up. Others never want you to be any worse than they are. And those are kind of cool parts that we could talk about elsewhere. But this is one of those spots where if you can give them and talk them through the scenarios of what could happen and what your plan is for that, where you've actually thought it through, instead of, oh, screw it, I want to go welding. Well, why? And you don't have an answer. Versus, oh, I want to go into welding so I can make a bunch of money. So I have a backup skill and I can use that to invest to potentially buy a business. And it's going to help me get into college courses so that I can take business classes and make connections and still make money while I'm doing that. So you guys don't have to foot the bill for my school and rent. I mean, which one of those do you think parents are going to be more excited about?
Yeah, I think being able to in the business world, we call it a pitch deck. If you can put together a little proposal to your parents, and it doesn't
100%.
need to be some crazy formal thing, but write it down, right? Like, when I was first kind of getting in the business world and doing meetings and all this stuff, people would want me to write stuff down. Like, why? We can have a conversation. I can explain it in 5 minutes and we can be done. But the magic in writing something down is it forces you and it forces the person that's writing it down to be clear and concise. Nobody wants to read a 17-page essay on your crazy idea. But if you can tailor it down to a page and you can show it to them, here's the plan, here's the purpose, here's the desired outcome, here's a contingency plan, now they can conceive and understand it. I think the reason most people say no and most deals in the business world don't happen, or there's a lot of argument between parents and children, is because there's no clarity. It's not that they don't like the idea. It's that they don't understand it. They don't see the path. They don't understand. If you have a CPA parent and a doctor parent, and you're like, hey, I want to go be a welder or an HVAC technician. That's not the path that they were told to do. Because when they were young, that's what the poor people did. And they fought their entire life to not be poor and to make you have a better future. So that way you're better off than they are, hopefully. And so when you say, hey, I want to go work with my hands and be a blue collar worker and be around dangerous chemicals and have trip hazards and everything on the job site's trying to kill you, and it's a rough life and you're working 12 hours a day, you're not going to see your family, why should they say yes to that? Explain that to them.
Well, and I think there's another part of that as well, Matt, because the world has changed and it's changed completely. You now can work 8 hours a day as a welder. You now can say no. I know a girl that works 3 days a week at the airline. She learned how to TIG weld at 18. She got a job at a vessel company. She was working 8-hour days, 4 days a week. Now she works for the airline 3 days a week. She makes $120K and she can travel anywhere in the world for free and is now using her money to buy real estate, right? There is a path. You can say no. You don't have to do what your parents did or your grandparents did. And I think you really nailed it because they don't understand it because they've never been down that path. So all they know are the horror stories. And what are you going to hear from your aunt and your uncle and your grandma? Oh, this one guy tried to start a real estate business and he got run over by a bus. Like, no, he didn't. Okay. Like, there's millions of real estate businesses that have all turned out and are probably owned by welders, right? There are paths to make this happen. So I think, as you said, you've just got to show them the beginning to the end, that there is a path here. There is a story. There is a completion to this.
So the interesting thing, I had a kind of a natural transition or kind of a cool experience when I was welding, because I was traveling. We were working on power plants. And when we were working on power plants, I was mostly doing the welding inspections. And so we'd be gone. We'd be out at a plant for an outage. They shut the power plant down. Nothing's working because pipes need to be fixed so they don't blow up. Different preventative maintenance, which is good. And so we'd be out there for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, whatever the case was. And we had two options. Option one was, hey, the company will pay you, I think it was like $25 a day per diem, and they'll cover housing. So the $25 a day is for food. Option two is you cover your own room and board, and we'll give you $125, which is $100 for room and board per day and $25 for food. And I started looking at, motels, hotels, stuff like that. I was like, that doesn't make sense. What if I got a travel trailer that could sleep 3 people in it? It had a bathroom. We had a kitchen. Right. I could pay RV park rent for $500 a month. Sure. And I could charge 2 more people $25 a day to stay in my RV. So now I'm getting my $125 plus another $50 a day. So I'm getting $175 per diem, which is tax-free.
Loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and jelly, and you're making extra money, right?
I'm making an extra $175 a day, tax-free, because it's per diem. And I would work night shifts. I'd make an extra $2 an hour, and they would work day shifts. So essentially, I didn't even have roommates. They were gone during the day, they were gone during the day while I'm sleeping and hanging out. And 100%. I was gone at night. And so it's just their little apartment that they could hang out in. And so that was that's my first real estate investment, was buying that travel trailer for $9,000, getting lot rent, charging 2 people $25 a day. And then I sold that trailer for $11,000.
So the $9,000 and then the 5 you said you put the deal from before, did you make that from your welding career? So you were making money as a welder and then using it to invest? Talk me through that. So, all right, let's say I'm 18 to 22 and I listen to these 2 crazy dudes in this video right now. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn a trade. I'm going to learn cabinetry. I'm going to learn to be an electrician. I'm going to learn to wire panels. I'm going to learn to weld something. I'm going to learn to put stuff together. And I start making a little money. Okay, give me some advice. Give me a path to help me get to ultimately owning or buying my own business. Do I need to go buy a car? Do I need to go buy a bunch of stuff? Like, give me a rough path, or the first year or 2 of how to turn my skill set and my hard work and the things that I'm putting my blood, sweat, and tears into my future company, my future career, my future finances.
So your first year or 2, stay focused on the job. Focus on the job and focus on managing the money. And when I say focus on managing the money, I mean, if you're making, say, $5,000 a month, which is $60,000 a year, your rent, have low rent, have some roommates, split rent. Don't eat steak and, whatever, like eat some pasta, eat some chicken, eat healthy, and focus on that budget. If you don't know about budgeting, learn budgeting, figure out what your expenses are, understand how much rent or a mortgage costs if you bought a house already. Understand, hey, if I'm a single dude, or maybe it's me and my girlfriend and we have a 3-bedroom house, go get some roommates, split that rent. Like lower your job when you're in your first year or 2 is lower your personal expenses. We call it the nut. Lower your monthly nut as much as possible and stack money away. Because once you have your first goal, at least what I tell people, your first goal, have 6 months of your living expenses stacked away. Okay. Because now you have we call it a runway. You have a runway. So if your living expenses are, say, $3,000 a month, and I'm just throwing numbers out. Maybe you got creative, you got your roommate, you have a budget for food, you're not eating out, you're not really traveling, and you're just focused on work. And you can get your expenses down to $3,000 and you're making $5,000 a month. Cool. Stack away that extra $2,000. Just put it away, put it away, put it away, put it away, put it away.
No, what am I doing with it there, Matt? Where am I putting it?
Put it in a savings account.
Okay, so this is an account separate from where I pay my bills, separate from my debit card, separate from I can just buy shit.
Have 2 separate accounts.
Okay.
Have a checking account, which is where all of your
investment dream account. Would that be a good thing to name it?
I wouldn't even focus on right now. At
keep the money away from
18.
me, so I have options later account. Like, what's a cool name I could put for this? Because one of the things I like to do in this spot, Matt, is I like to create the positive of this. Okay. And the question I might ask you is, how much would I need per month where in a year to 2 years I could make some business moves?
Yeah.
Do I need to be able to save $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $10,000
the reality
a month?
It is true. You don't need to use your own money to buy a business or a house or whatever. Like, all the houses I ever bought, I put 0 of my own money into. All of the land, I've bought over 250 acres of land in the last 24 months. I've put 0 of my own money into. None. And I have money. But I've put none of my own money into. And so what the 6 months of, and it's not a rainy day fund. It's not whatever. It's just there. It's a little safety net.
Safety, security, so that you won't worry and now you can get to work? Like, what is it you're trying to do here?
Yep. It's just like hey, if things go sideways, it's like a small taste of fuck you money. It's a small taste of like, bro, I'm not showing up to work for a week. Like, hey, I'm quitting. This job sucks ass. I love welding, or I love doing whatever thing that I do. I need to make a career change. I need to go get a sales job. I need to go start a business, whatever. Like, now you have a 6-month runway of like, this is my opportunity fund to make a drastic move where, hey, I don't need to make an income for a couple months, and I can take my time and think and make strategic moves and like land that dream job.
I like
and go
that
work
wording.
For free for a company for 2 weeks and say, hey, maybe I like it, maybe I don't.
I like that wording, the opportunity fund or the big moves fund, because I like to get people thinking on the positive side of creation. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I need 15K to do this thing that I've always wanted to do. This business, this property, this investment. Oh, all I got to do is go make 15K. Initially, that sounds insurmountable, but given enough focus and enough time, you can do anything, right? Given the right pressure and the right time, you can cut rock with water, right? Just takes a minute. Sometimes it's the Grand Canyon. Sometimes it's a water jet. Yeah, exactly. All right. So we've got a job. We're making some money. We're stacking it away in our big moves fund. We're starting to do this over 6 months. Is there anything else we need to be doing with ourselves? Do we need to be getting our mind in check, our body in check? Do we need to be changing the people we're hanging around with? Like, give me kind of the step by step. I'm working. I'm making some money. I got a big moves fund. What else?
So I learned this, actually super grateful looking back. I learned this acronym when I was young and in my 20s, and it's called the Tribe 5, TRIBE 5. I don't know what the 5 stands for, maybe because it's 5 letters. I don't know. I mean, it sounds cool. But Tribe 5, so time, relationships, income, body, expansion. Those are really the 5 main things that we want to focus on every single day. Time. How am I spending my time? Are you spending your time doing things that you enjoy, that you hate, that are helping your future, that are hurting your future? Just like, how are you spending your time? Is it quality? Are you spending time with people you love, but it's low quality because you're spending time on your phone while you're with them? Just being aware of how are we spending our time? How much time are you spending at work? How much time are you spending with family? How much time are you spending learning, educating at the gym? These types of things, right? Next one is relationships. And we have I set a goal. Hey, I want to start a business. I don't know anything about, I want to buy a business. I don't know anything about business. I know about welding, and I know about school, and I know that white collar jobs are getting taken by AI. Other than that, and I want to make more money. Other than that, I have no idea.
Okay.
Cool. What's a relationship that you need to build over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months that you can focus on? Hey, I want to build a relationship with somebody who has bought a business in the last 12 months. That is a very clear defined outcome.
Sure.
And so that's the what, right? That's the goal. What's the
one? And that's hitting your network to find 10 or 15 people that have already done what you're thinking of doing.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily what you want to be doing. Just like, I have a crazy idea. I'm going to run a car lot. Well, who do you know that runs car lots? Hey, I want a carpet cleaning business.
So I want
that's got one.
I want to hit on something you keep saying. So we keep saying crazy, right? Starting a business is crazy to somebody is crazy to 100 people. You get 100 people in a room that have had a job and have building a pension and investing in their 401k. Starting a business is crazy to those people. You get into a room where there's 100 people that have started businesses, bought businesses, grown businesses, sold businesses. This is a normal Tuesday.
Sure.
Yesterday, I sat down, I went to a Mexican lunch. I love Mexican food. Went to lunch. I signed a deal with the guy. He gave me $50,000 to go buy a piece of land. Right after that, I went to a title company to go sell a piece of land. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., I'm going to a title company to sign on a 54-acre deal. Like, this is a normal day for me. It's not crazy. For me, crazy is waking up and for the next 40 years, maybe a couple of years is fine, but the next 40 years, letting somebody else tell me what I can and can't do, when and when I cannot take a shit, when I can and cannot eat. Like, that's crazy.
Well, imagine being 32, 33, you've done nothing with your 20s. You're still in the same spot and you've never gone anywhere. To me, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
I tell 20 years. So I just turned 30 this year. 20s is not about making a shitload of money. Contrary to what you see on social media, contrary to all these things, like, if you want to look at the Paul brothers, be like, oh, the Paul brothers are worth, 100 million, 200 million, a billion, whatever numbered prime and all these things are worth. Yeah, they've been doing this stuff since they were 12 years old. Like, they've been grinding for 18 years. Like, their first 10 years, if you haven't started yet and you're 20, the first 10 years is figuring it out.
Sure.
Go watch their first video. They're cringy as hell. Like, back in the Vine days, early YouTube days, they're doing this crazy stuff. Lawsuits are flying around. They're moving to LA. They're living with people. They're getting, like, they weren't making money. They were getting by.
No, 100%. And I challenge everybody to take all three of us and go look at some of our first videos. They're absolutely terrible. All right. So we have our gig. We're making some money. We were working down your tribe. We had talked about our relationships, which is finding people doing what you want to do and getting around them. All right. So finish out.
I is income. And income, money, whatever you want to call it. Hey, it could be, we're just going to stick to our budget 90% for the next 6 months. If our budget is $3,000 a month, we need to stay under $3,000 a month for the next 6 months. That's a win or a loss. Like, there is no ambiguity there. It could be, hey, we're going to go do something to take our income up. We're going to maybe, hey, for the next 6 months or a year, our income is going to go to zero because we're going to go make that big move and we're going to lose some income and we're going to reposition ourselves for a better opportunity. The income doesn't need to grow or shrink or stay. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It just needs to make sense for your situation. Body is the gym.
Let's stop there for a second because, all right, so we spent 6 months stacking money, getting ready, finding people. And now we're in a spot, we've got 6 months of living expenses. We've found some ideas, we've made some connections, and we've got some possibilities. And what you're saying is, when you hit this I spot, this may not be linear. This might be I take 2 steps back to go 6 steps forward. This might be I go try it and it flames out and it's a fucking disaster. And what do I do then? I just start back over because I know what to do the first 6 months. I just do it again, right? And that 1 month or that 2 month of trying something out and doing what others might think is crazy could be the thing that gets us over the hump faster, right? Because your initial advice was use your skills to create the opportunity that you can go try some things out. Okay. All right, so that's our income. We're working on our future income, making more money, whatever path is needed to get there, right? We're never going to get completely back to zero because we still have that skill set to make money. All right, we're back to B. What you got?
B, body. This could be a goal. I mean, if you're young and a dude, you're probably like, I want to.
Is this the do you even lift bro segment of the conversation? Yeah. Is that where we're at?
This could be, hey, I'm a fat, lazy slob and I've been smoking weed and drinking for the last 2 years. Which, by the way, I've been there. I've smoked a lot of weed. I've drank a lot of drink. I've puked a lot of nights. Like, I have been there. Sometimes my body goal is hit the gym 3 times this week. It's not even to have a good workout. It is just go to the gym and be in there and get under a barbell. And so whatever it is for you, like whatever.
Well, I had a great one the other day. I put a chocolate bar on my desk and my only goal that day was to not eat it.
There you go.
And
I'd throw it away.
Still sitting on my desk. So mission accomplished. It doesn't have to be a significant win every day. It just needs to be a little win because you got to keep stacking them.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get our body right. Does that include our mind?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. We're at B. We're working on our body. We're going to the gym. We're getting better. We're getting sleep. We're taking care of ourselves.
We're eating healthy. We're
maybe starting to eat a little better. Instead of peanut butter and jelly, now we have a piece of chicken with some peanut butter and jelly. All right. Keep going.
And then last one is expansion. Expansion is, how are we expanding our mind? How are we understanding things? At first for me, I was literally doing like $400 deals. Like my first deals was selling candy bars in high school, dude. Like I was buying stuff. I was buying a pack of candy bars for $50, going to school and selling them one by one for $1. Boom. I just turned $50 into $100. That was the biggest deal I could conceive, was a $50 to $100 deal. And then I'd take my $100, I'd go buy $100, turn it into 200, boom, 400. Like that was the biggest deal. So then I was like, okay, I need to learn how to do bigger. How do I do $5,000 deals? Like, dude, if I could buy something and make sell it for $5,000 and make $1,000, that's 2,000 candy bars that I wouldn't have to how do I do this? So I start researching. I figured out I start flipping cars. Cool. Boom, boom, boom. Start flipping cars. Probably flipped 20, 30 cars in my life. And then I was like, cool, that was fun. How do I do $20,000 deals? And then it was like, okay, well, then I started looking at real estate. Like, oh, I can actually buy a house. I can put 15 grand down, go buy the house, flip the house. And then boom, I just made $15,000 to $20,000 on a little flip. That's cool.
Well, and as a welder,
so the expansion could be a skill set, right? It could be, hey, right now I'm in high school, right now I'm in college, I do or I don't like, maybe you're running a job, whatever it is, you're working at Walmart, or you have a decent job and you just want to make a switch. Maybe expansion is just learning a different skill to be in a different industry, because the vehicle you're in matters. I heard a really good example of this. If you're playing sports and you're looking at the scoreboard, what's the most amount of points you can score in a game, right? And so my two favorite to contrast each other is basketball. In a basketball game, you can go make 30, 40, 50 points in a game, right? Let's go play soccer. How many points are you going to make in a soccer game? 1, 2, maybe. And so both athletes are working just as hard, training just as hard, have just as good of coaching, showing up every day, doing the same thing, the same discipline, just putting their life, blood, and soul into this sport. One player is scoring 30 to 50 points a game. One player is scoring 1 to 2 points a game. And so maybe it's learning a different skill set. It's learning how to, instead of playing soccer, you go learn to play basketball. And so that expansion could be a skill set. It could also be, I need to expand my network, which goes back to the relationship. I need to go be in a room. I need to be in a room once a month with 2 or 3 business owners that have started, bought, or sold a business, just to expand my network. But you need to make it crystal clear of if you're welding's easy for me. So if you're like, hey, I want to go learn how to weld, I need to be able to lay down a weld within the next 3 months that has 0 porosity using the MIG process. It is a pass fail. It's not, I need to learn more about welding. Fuck that. You don't need to learn more. You need a clear, defined goal. What is the desired outcome out of this thing?
All right. A lot of different routes we can go. Let's make a quick step by step. So I'm 18 to 22. I don't really have a path. Mom and dad ain't rich. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm pretty good with my hands. Okay. I'm going to learn a skill set I can make money on. Most of the time I'm going to get paid by the hour. So I'm going to go find a skill set I can do. I'm going to get good at it, and I'm going to get a job. And then my first 2 priorities. Number 1 is to get fucking better at it. To get better at my skill and my craft. To do whatever is needed to make that happen. To put in the extra hours, read the book, stay late, hang out with the old guys, work the weekends, whatever is needed to get better to make more money in the same amount of time. Because one of the principles I want you to start thinking about, so you've made some money, you've gotten better, you've stacked 6 months of living expenses, and now you're starting to look around because you got a network of people you're talking to. You've been going to the gym, you're getting better, you're talking to people that are in these crazy ideas you've come up with for future potential for businesses and things like that. And you're going to start trying these things out, right? And you're going to start doing things that other people normally wouldn't do and see what's going to happen. And you're just going to keep going and keep going. And one of the things that I like to insert in that moment is the effective hourly rate. Okay. If you've been working for $15 an hour, how do I get better where I can make 20? How do I get better where I can make 25? Okay. And at some point, that answer won't be with a job. It will be with doing something. Maybe it's a deal. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's buying and selling candy bars, like you said, right? Like, how many hours do I have to work to now make $5,000, right? Maybe I could just do a deal that takes me 2 or 3 hours to set up and 2 or 3 more hours to close out. But it took me years of setting up those relationships and those ideas and all those things that you set forth, where now when you have the experience, the opportunity, the relationship, and all the things in front of you, you can make that $5,000 an hour. You can make that $10,000 an hour. So I think that's kind of the important part of all of this. And maybe you can talk to this some of keeping a scoreboard so that you can see your progress, so that when you're in that moment where you feel down or you don't think it's working or you don't think there's a path that's going to get you there and this is really, really hard, you can back up and zoom out and see the progress that you've made to help you keep going. Pick a path from there, wherever you want to go, Matt.
Yeah, I think understanding what you want out of life is important. Understand, are you going to be okay making this sacrifice for this opportunity? And it could be business. Usually the two is business or family. Am I willing to have kids and be married and prioritize that over working more hours or learning more? Am I willing to wake up at 3 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. to put in extra time to learn and educate myself so I can still spend time in the evening? Like, what are you willing and not willing to sacrifice in order to have that dream and desired life that you want? For me, sometimes it's not consistent, but sometimes I'm up at 3. Sometimes I'm in bed at 10 p.m. and I'm not falling asleep, and 11:30 rolls around and I look at my phone. I'm like, oh shoot, it's 11:30, but my mind is going, and I'm getting up and I'm changing clothes and I'm going to the office and I'm working till 2 a.m. because it just hit, like something just hit me, and I'm like, oh, I need to execute this. And it's like, are you willing to sacrifice some of those moments? Are you willing to sacrifice, instead of spending a Friday evening hanging out with friends or family, I'm going to go read a book or take a course or shop for businesses or understand the math behind it or understand creative deal structure? Am I willing to, instead of watching Netflix, maybe we watch some course videos or YouTube videos on how to buy and sell businesses, or how to buy and sell assets, or how to start a welding company or buy a welding company, or, you know, whatever the thing is. Like, and there's no big sacrifice. Like, I think there's a misconception that, like, hey, I'm going to make the decision to sacrifice every Friday night for the next 12 months with my family. Like, that's not real. You can say that, but like, the sacrifice just comes when you wake up in the morning. Like, when you wake up in the morning and you're, hey, tonight, we're going to go do this. Now you have a decision to make in that moment. Like, it's every day you're making that decision. It's not like you make this decision one time and that's just how it is. It's like you wake up and you're faced with this decision. Like right now, I could, this podcast, or there's a 12-unit apartment complex I could go look at. I called my partner. I was like, hey, I have this podcast. I need you to go look at this 12-unit and get back to me. This is the information I need, and here we go. But the sacrifice I make there is I'm not in the deal 100% myself now. Now I have a partner in it. We're going to split equity. If we do the deal, we're going to split cash flow. Is that a sacrifice I'm willing to make? And I make those decisions day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour.
Well, and you also have to understand that early in your career, and I'll call it the 20s, is a great thing you can use as an investment. You know, you're not going to miss anything. There's not anything that's going to happen that, oh my God, I can't do when I'm 30. You know what I mean? And a lot of those things you can now do in your 30 with more money and nicer airline seats and in a different country and in a nicer car and all those kind of things.
It's not like one day you just wake up and you're like, oh, I made it. It's like, no, the thing about all of what we're talking about is it's personal and professional development. It's becoming the best you can be at the skill set you have. It's being a nicer person. It's saying things that build people up rather than tear people down. It's providing an opportunity bigger for yourself and your family, as well as other people inside your organization, your coworkers, your boss. If you run a business, it's your employees, it's your managers. Like, you change, the things around you don't really change too much.
We'll delve down that one at some point. I'll slide back into our checklist again real quick, and we'll go from there and wrap up. How long do we have? A few more minutes, I think. All right, so let's see. All right, so I'm in my 20s. I don't know exactly what I want to do. I'm getting a skill. I'm going to start making some money. I'm putting away some living expenses for 6 months so that I can create options, so that I can go try things out. I've got better relationships going. I found some people doing the things I want to do. I've reached out to them. At some point, I've got to take stock of the people and the influences and the things that are around me, and I may have to walk away from them for a short period of time, right? And that's a key thing that I tell people, 18 to 25. Look around at the people that you have around you and ask yourself, is that who I want to be 15, 20 years from now? And if it's not, you may have to go live somewhere else or hang around with different people or do something different for a short period of time until you can come back. And that might be your mom, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your uncle, your neighbor across the street, people you've worked with and for. Sometimes they're not going to be the ones that can get you where you want to be because they only see things from their perspective, right? And you're trying to do more. You want to do more. You're trying to make money. You're trying to make a mark in the world. You're trying to have a good life for you. You might want to be that person for your family. A lot of people grew up with nothing and they want mom to actually have a house that she's not worried about being taken away. There's some goal, there's some drive, there's some motivation there. So we're off, we're making moves, we're trying out different businesses, we're talking to different people, we're off along, and we've got our first potential business off the ground and going. Now, is it likely that's going to be a success? What should we take note of and do at that moment? What should we prepare ourselves for? We're now off on our first business venture. We're basically risking our 6-month security, all these things we've worked for the past year and a half to set up for. And now we're taking the big step. What do we need to prepare ourselves for?
Hopefully you prepared before doing all of this. I'm going to say this, and I hope it's more relieving than it is scary. All of the fears that you have going into starting your own business or buying a business or doing a deal will come true. What if I lose all my money? You will lose all of your money.
100%.
What if my key players quit? Your key players will quit. What if it doesn't work? It won't work. These aren't fears. These are like guaranteed to happen. You've never done it. You've never led groups and teams of people. You've never taken a product from idea to market. You've never built a marketing campaign or paid ads. You've never, it's going to fail. Put a 3-year-old on a bike that's never ridden a bike, they're going to fall. Put a 30-year-old on a pedal bike that's never ridden a bike, they're going to fall. And it's no different. If you look at it like a sport, what you're venturing into is you're saying, hey, I've never played baseball and I'm going to go play baseball at the MLB stadium.
Sure.
And you don't have a team. You're starting this business from scratch. You're playing an MLB team by yourself, a team of one, no coach, no franchise, no nothing, against a team of the best players in the world at baseball. You're going to fail, and that's okay. Why didn't it work? Oh, maybe because after I hit the ball, there wasn't a second batter to hit.
Yeah.
Maybe the video caught people's attention when we ran the ad, but there was no button for them to click to go to a website. Oh, they went to the website, but there was no form for them to fill out. Holy cow, the ad worked. We got their attention. The cost per lead super low. They went to the website. They filled out the form, but nothing happened. Yeah, nobody called them.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's
100%.
like, your only job is to execute as far as you can possibly conceive. What's going to break, and then fix that thing. What's going to break? Fix that thing. What's going to break? Fix that thing. And every single thing in every single business is always failing, and our only job is to fix it one step at a time. I heard this quote the other day. It's like, you only have a finite amount of resources in your business, which means you can only focus on a finite amount of problems. which means something's going to be fucked all the time. And you have to be able to execute regardless of that.
Well, here's the cool part, and let's close it out with this. The cool part is if you followed this path and you learned a skill and you made money and you got an opportunity and you fell flat on your face, it's just like when you started learning how to do that skill. You've already shown yourself that you can start from scratch and start from an idea and get really good at something and make money. Now it's just doing it in business or doing it in finance or doing it in real estate. So you're going to put down some bad welds and you're going to cut some pipe wrong and you're going to build a bad cabinet. And that's just going to happen because you didn't get immediately perfect at everything you did. So you have to understand that those are just trials and tribulations till you get good at what you're doing. And you've already shown yourself that you can do it. And I think that's the coolest part of it. That's why I think a lot of people that could start in the trades right now with a skill set have a massive advantage because they're already going to do it and prove to themselves they can get good at something. So now they just change the something. Instead of welding, now it's a welding business. Instead of fabricating, now it's a real estate company. Whatever that might be, they've shown themselves they can do it.
So I went to college for a year after high school and I came back. I switched my degree 7 times during that 9 months, which was awesome. I was a regular at the office. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not college. My professor from my welding school from the community college calls me up. He's like, hey, Matt, here you're back in town. I'm starting a welding business, a welding inspection business. And you were one of my best students. I'd like for you to come work for me. I'll offer you $9 an hour. The same day, I get a call from the local utility company that I interviewed 2 weeks prior at. They called the same day. They called and they offered me $17 an hour to go work at the utility company. And I hung up the phone with both of them. I didn't talk to anybody. And I called my welding professor back and I said, I'm going to start working for you. And the decision I made in that moment was it's not about the money. It's about the skill set of being part of a startup because I will own my business one day. And the skill of being around somebody who is starting a business and being involved in that environment will be more beneficial to me long-term than the short-term $17 an hour that I'm not going to learn the skill at. So I did that. And so now I have this job. I'm working $9 an hour, 30, 40 hours a week, which is not a lot of money, still living at my parents' house at 19 years old. And to reduce my ranks, I was like, I'm not going to go spend a bunch of money, right? My parents like me. I like them. It was cool. It wasn't good for the ladies, but you know, we got to make sacrifices. And I started tinting windows in my free time that I had extra time that I wasn't working. Tinting windows is putting a sticker on a freaking window. Like that's it. It took me 3 days to tint my first window successfully. I got paid $25 in 3 days worth of work to tint that window. Fast forward 30 days, I'm tinting 5 trucks a day and making $125 per truck. And so I fell flat. I failed. I fell flat on my face for 3 days in a row. Then I got a little bit, what's not working? What's not working? What's not working? What's not working? And I got a little better and a little better and a little better. And it's the same in business. I underwrite for when I moved to Tennessee. So back to your point, I was around during COVID, things shut down. We're smoking a lot of weed. We're not working out. We're not going to the gyms. We're just being a hooligan. Life's totally going off track. And I decided to move to Tennessee. When I moved to Tennessee, I want to be a land investor. And if you talk to any real estate investor, investing in land is the dumbest thing you can do unless you have a 20-year time frame. And I'm trying to do this in less than 12 months, right? This is a bona fide crazy idea. Nobody does it. I spent 9 months in Tennessee studying the market, doing 0 deals. Underwrite a deal, underwriting 10 deals a day, studying the market, figuring out what metrics even matter. 9 months in order to do my first deal. Boom, I lock my first deal up. We make $100,000. I make $100,000. My partner makes $100,000.
Nice. We
lock up our second deal. I make $60,000. My partner makes $60,000. 9 months of work to go into a deal to now I personally make $150,000. Literally 0 income in a new market, failing every single day, but showing up and getting the work done to a year later doing $150,000 in income. Like, You're going to fall on your face. You're going to fail. You're going to go broke. And if you keep showing up and doing the right things and fixing stuff, you will figure it out as long as you're playing the right game.
Well, as they say, you can never fail if you don't quit. So for Matt, it's been a 10-year overnight success story. For me, a few more years beyond that. So anyone watching this, reach out to us, hit us up. Maybe we can make a connection for you. Maybe we can help you get over that first hump. Maybe we can just give you a kick in the ass to just get started. So learn a skill, make some money, build a cushion, and then take a chance on yourself because you got this.
Yeah, to that point, Zane, if somebody is in the Chattanooga area, we are mostly focused on in-person people working for us. Or if you're willing to move to the Chattanooga area or you're in college in or around Chattanooga, hit me up. We are looking for people to help us source businesses, talk to business owners, underwrite financials, make pitch decks. Like, we are building a team around business acquisition. And if it scares you to go do the thing on your own, but you'd like to be a part of the team and build the skill set to do it, we're looking for people that are underqualified or overqualified to come do it. I don't care if you've ever done it. I didn't do it at one point, but you better be willing to work and you better be coachable.
Love it. Love it. And for me, if you need anything, hit me up. The channel's out there. Chase me down on LinkedIn. If you want to get a group together and do a call and figure out what the next question is or the next thing that you need to get over the hurdle, even if it's you, look us up, hit us up. You got this.